for a job, why are we not getting them those jobs that they want? We also asked some other key questions, such as, do you know how to find a job? Now, more than 45% said that they didn't know how to find reported. Because of course someone is going to say, well, you know, it's easy to find a job. I went a little bit deeper and sort of asked what were the top 3 strategies for finding a job. The first was, and that's not as that you would want to go work for. Most cannot do that. I went to online job listings. Now what's interesting is we look at job listings. We also asked them who did they like to work with. And we've seen in the community sort of this uptick in the number of staffing firms and headhunting companies that are out there. And that's really great. But by and large, people in this community want to talk to the direct recruiter. They really want to talk to someone who sits at the desk that understands the culture and understands what's going on within that company. Unfortunately, in this community, too many recruiters who work either for a company or a staffing firm or a headhunter have really created sort of a bad or all of the various different UTs to the job description. Another skill set. Let's grow you into another job. Or also helping them understand you did something in one industry and the regulations and understand compliance. Go and take that into another step within your career. And finally, finding the recruiters to work with. They want to work with recruiters. They don't know necessarily how to find them. And that's why I'm really excited when I see so many recruiters who are out in the community not going, hi, I'm a recruiter, I'm going to hire you. Like, hey, I want to get to know your community. I want to get to know what you're working on. I want to get to know the things that you're passionate about. Because we talk about that a lot in this community, passion. And not just putting someone into a job slot because it fills our recs, but finding someone who is passionate. Volunteering is stressful. We're talking about it is not necessarily the job of the employer to provide fulfillment. It is the job of the candidate or the employee to find fulfillment. They're not necessarily going to find it in your workplace, but finding a place where they can find fulfillment in volunteering is one more step of you retaining your really great talent. Positive impact on the overall industry. There are not many things different to make it better. More often than not, people difference. These are the same skills that people were finding that they learned when they were volunteering. And there are not many places non-technical skills. We primarily use them for their technical skills, but we don't give them a place to work on communication, to work on planning, to work on organizing. And these are the actual numbers for this, is that to say that they were part of team and oral. So with just think about the with, you already know how that conversation's going to go. 1,500 people, you're going to start is a really great technical is one of the things that people are really looking for when they're going to work. I can tell you how many times I go and I listen to a presentation and no one knows who the company is that sent them because no one is engaging their employer to say, hey, I've been accepted within the community, that people are really great at what they do. They get out and they present, but they have to set aside their own personal budget to fly, stay at a hotel, and go community by supporting your or not. I can tell you a lot of the people who are out there speaking, they don't follow the rules of their company, but they're very passionate about what they're presenting about, and they're going to go and to support volunteering in the community. You're going to be able to take it from also have a training budget. You have a marketing and communications budget. And so will every years. So this is not a new problem. This is something that we all need to work on. Written that job description, and flesh it out. Does this person need to, have passion about crypto? Does this person have to manage a variety of teams? Is this person going to be put in crisis situations? What are the things that this person really needs to know about being successful in that position? Outlining your hiring. You don't have to have a fancy video, and you don't have to have fancy graphics. 5 points. What are the steps? Because you also have to hold yourself accountable to the fact that you've got that on you. Make sure that you have internally agreed that this is going to be our hiring process. And these are the things that we are going to commit to the candidate that we're going to do. We're going to get back to them. We are going to let them know that they didn't get the job. They're not going to be left out there hanging. You're going to let them know that there are some things that they could do to improve getting that job. Because feedback, this is one thing I love about the military. If you move from one position to the next within the military and you don't make it to the next step, they're going to sit down with you and tell you why you didn't do that and what you need to work on. But we don't do that in the civilian life. We don't get back to our candidates and say, you were great, you just didn't have this certification. Or you're great, but the technical interview you sort of got a little nervous on. Maybe work on that. Doing that step to build your employment brand with the candidate community, to say you're giving back, you're helping. If you can't get out there and sponsor, if you can't do that, at least get back to the candidates and let them know what's going on in the hiring process and what they can do to be better hireable talent for you. And you really have to get out in the community, and I promised I wouldn't call on him, but like Kevin. Kevin is here all the time in the community. We have Kirsten Renner who's out in the community. We have Matt Duran. People who have not only been in the community just today, but they're not going and hiring, they're listening. They're listening to the current tech challenges that are out there. You want to find someone who's going to solve a critical problem within your company? Go to a meetup and find out who's solving that on their own at their own home lab, or find the person who is really curious about the new solutions for that. But that requires you listening, and that requires you building your brand within that community. Like, hey, I'm just here to help out. I'm not here to poach, I'm here to coach. And what's interesting is that it is a constant activity to be in the community, not just when you're needing a job filled. Because what's fascinating to me is that just like job seekers who start working on their resume the day after they quit their job, we go and try to find the candidate the day that our boss is complaining to us that we need to have that position filled. Pipeline is 6 months, it's 12 months. Get to be known in this community. Get to be known as the person that is willing to do resume review like Kevin did yesterday. Like anyone who answers any of my calls that I put out for resume review, I'll have 8 opportunities in 2020 to volunteer in the community to be a recruiter resume review. Being known, being someone who follows them on Twitter, being the one that answers their frustrations on social media. Now, you may leave yourself open to be ranted on, and that does happen. I'm sorry, that's the way our society is. But being the one that gives back and help. On retention, if you're not involved with recruiting, but you really want to get better at retaining your talent that may be dripping out that bucket that we keep hearing about, Understanding what pathways can happen within your company for your technical talent. I was thrilled when I was doing a workshop 2 years ago, and there was someone in the room that had absolutely no security experience, but had been working at a financial institution for 17 years and knew everything about financial regulations, government regulations, backwards and forwards. And his management went to him and said, "We learn security so that you can help us develop the strategies that we need to do to help mitigate any of the risk for our financial institution." Already inside, sending them through the certification process, sending them through the education and saying, hey, opportunities within your company for your tech talent. Don't keep churning and burning the same tech talent. Make sure they have someplace else to go. Just like you don't want to go out and have to recruit a new person, they sure as hell don't be part of. Are they ready to go up into management? Are they ready to go into managing teams? Hey, if they're managing a team at a conference, do you know what it's like to manage all of these volunteers? They can certainly manage all of the technical talent you have. Give them that opportunity. A lot of people, they feel the requirement that's out there, but they don't necessarily know if you have Army or Navy or Marines on your staff. Who do you want? What volunteer opportunities do you want to do? What are the top 3 conferences you go to every year? Going. Why aren't you there? Why aren't you supporting them? Hey, maybe interview them afterwards. You know, what was their trip report? What did they learn? What was new out there? Making sure that you understand where your talent goes to satisfy their passion. Are they going to the CTFs? Are they part of the crypto challenges? These are things that can not only help you support them and retain them as talent, that can be done any. Well, you know, we are videotaping this, and we do have people live streaming.
So I work for a very small startup. There's all of 7 of us right now. We're out of Pittsburgh, and our main challenge is constantly busy, but we also kind of have to be able to make people, and we're having a very hard time. Do you have any tips for a small company like us to attract talent like that?
So have a lot of experience. But they're usually going to be people who don't have other financial obligations. So that is a very specific niche. In Pittsburgh, there are several meetups, user groups. There's BSides Pittsburgh. You know, yes, I'm a walking commercial for BSides. Definitely go to the security BSides. In volunteering in the community, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to parrot what I just presented. And passion does attract the talent that's looking for that. And it's just, what's interesting is that too many people in this community hear startup and they hear crash and burn. And they've been burned. And if you are an entrepreneur that has a startup, really look at the fact of, okay, don't pull that who, you know, thought that they were on this great trajectory, and they made sure everyone had a severance, versus what most happen against is have the upside. This is, you know, I of when you're stretching in the back. Hard to people? Is this too simple? Did you want me to tell you you had to buy one of my products in 10 years? So realize that we're right now here at the end of. Is it GerCon? Is it SchmooCon? Travel budget? Is it time off? Are they working on a project that technical team wants to get out and present? Believe me, if you're working on someone on your technical team who is filling out the call for proposals, they're learning on their writing skills. They're learning on, how to do a short abstract, a long abstract, and the key takeaways that that presentation is going to be. To me, that also signifies someone who's ready for management because they know how to write and they know how to convey their thoughts to an audience that may not be familiar with the topic. But you need to work with them because I can't tell you how many times they say, okay, the deadline for the CFP is tonight. I'm going to start. Wants to present at a conference this year. I did a workshop for getting more women in the community. Do the workshop because she didn't want to present. Oh, I'm running over. No, okay. And what's interesting is here, but that's my job. Getting out and presenting in the community on 4 different topics. That manager then went to corporate communications and said, how does this fit? They nearly died in happiness because they had a woman and she got accepted to 12 presentations. Yeah, she ended up going out the country. And she was a great brand ambassador for this very large names. You've made sure that you found the top 2 or 3 conferences that they want to be part of. You've then weekends you're going to be giving up. And you're going to get out and you're not going. People are like, okay, what is the really cool swag? It is not the fancy t-shirts. T-shirts are great. $22 on Baby Shark on Amazon. Do you know how many people I've collected emails and resumes from in the first day? It was over 150. Okay? I'm not talking about expensive things. I'm talking about understanding what makes this community tick and being part of it. Any other questions before I get really passionate about this topic?
Thank you, Kat. The next presentation isn't until